Welcome, my Canadian cousins. How are you? So we are today looking at Oh Canada. I just did a video, a companion video. I'm posting it at the same time, and at the end of this, there'll be a link to click to it. Really about the subject of the Canadians singing the American national anthem after a mic cut out during a hockey game, and vice versa here in the U.S. in Detroit. And so it got me curious about the anthem. Now I know the anthem pretty well. If you watch the other video, you'll see I got pretty accurately through saying the anthem. I messed up a few words, but I think the sentiment of everything I got was right. But I don't really know about the history of it. I do know from past videos that a lot of people have asked me to look at the Maple Leaf Forever, which I put in the background of a video at one point, and that how that tended to be maybe an unofficial anthem and maybe remains so, but it has been around a long time, and I think French Canadians didn't feel a connection to it, and I think it really reflected more of the Anglophone history of Canada. And so eventually, from what I just read, French Canadian, I guess a Quebecois had written the anthem musically as it exists today, but to French lyrics, which exist today as well, and they still exist in French. So the French was the original, and it took a little time to adapt it into English, and the first version of it is not what ultimately was adopted in 1980 as the official Canadian national anthem, which is bilingual. There's official in French and official in English. But what might have been a more, let's say, true and more literal translation from the original French, but eventually it was changed. And I think what is now the English version of the national anthem was written in the 1960s or something like that, but ultimately was adopted in 1980 and has been your official national anthem ever since. So let's take a look at both the English and the French lyrically, and I would like to kind of compare them both and to see how close they are. I'm gonna look at the French first, okay? Stick with me, and I'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so I don't speak French at all. I speak a little bit of Spanish. I learned some French. I took kind of a crash course before I visited France, just to be polite and be able to use some expressions and sayings. But understanding that a lot of words come from Norman French and English after the Norman invasion, there are a lot of words that we can recognize. Although Norman French was different than modern French, and Quebecois is different than modern French, it's France French. I understand that it's closer to what was actually spoken at the time. But in any case, I want to take a stab at looking at the French lyrics to O Canada and see how much I can maybe slightly decipher. Okay, so here it is. O Canada. I'm not going to try to pronounce all this because there's no way I'm going to, but that terre de nos, that would be our land. O Canada, our land. So I guess that's similar to how it starts in English, O Canada, our home and native land. I'm not sure what that other word is. Something about glorious flowers, maybe like a laurel or floral wreath. I don't know what ton means. They say it again in the next line. Porter, so carrying something. And then the next line, porter la croix, cross, carrying a cross. So maybe like carrying some kind of arms and carrying a cross, to bear arms or to bear a cross, probably for the country. Ton. Well, they're using thy and thee in the English version, so I'm assuming that ton means something like thy or thee. Ton. Thy history is great. Thy history is great. Day plus exploits. With very brilliant exploits. Valor with valor. I don't know. Protect our homes, foyer, and our DROITS streets. What? Well, maybe protect our homes and freedoms. Probably not freedoms. That's freedom would be liberté. Our rights, maybe. Okay. I don't speak French. I'm just. I think I know. trying to figure this out. All right, let's see how well I did and how close they were able to get to the original French from the English version now. Stick with me. Okay, so the literal translation of the French version, O Canada, land of our sires, whose brow is bound with glorious bays. So yeah, quite different. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love and all thy sons command. The sword thy valorous hand can wield. Oh, okay, so I was saying like it was some kind of armaments. And bear the cross that faith inspires. What mighty deeds hath thou beheld? An apogee of glorious sights, the faith thy shield through all thy days shall still protect our homes and rights. Shall still protect our homes and rights. See, I don't think this is exactly literal, but it's much more literal than the official English version. Interesting. However, it does basically capture the same theme. Thematically, they're consistent. Very interesting. Okay, my friends. Well, now I know a heck of a lot more about your anthem than I did when I started this. I think it's awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe even learned something. I'm sure you guys will teach me so much more in the comments, and I will look very forward to reading them. All right, my friends. Have yourselves a good day, good night, good morning, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you soon. Peace.